Thanks for listening to a new episode of The Luke Kelly Show. It's a Monday edition. I'll have a top 3 list for you. But as we get this episode started off, we had to bring back on Nora.
Hey, guys.
Had to go over to see how her NCAA March Madness bracket went. I don't think it went too well, just to be honest with you.
I was a little off.
A lot of off.
No, not a lot, just a little.
No, a lot of off. Last week, we didn't have time to kind of recap it, and now we do have some time to do that, so we have Nora on. Did any of your teams make it into the Final Four? Do you know who made it into the Final Four?
No, but I know it was North Carolina.
Okay.
And I can't think of the other team now.
Well, they won the national championship.
I know they were the ones who won because I knew North Carolina didn't win.
Okay. These were the Final Four teams for the March Madness tournament. You had Duke, North Carolina, Villanova, and Kansas.
I mean, I picked Duke.
You picked Duke? In what bracket did you pick Duke?
I had Duke as Final Four for one of mine.
In one of them.
That's one.
I'm looking over. That was your only Final Four team. Out of 2 brackets that you did, Duke was the only Final Four team that you had in there. In one bracket, you had Kansas losing in the first round.
Well, they just sounded like an awful team.
In the second bracket you filled out, you had them only winning 1 game and not even advancing to the Sweet 16.
Well, that's on you for not telling me that they were actually a good team.
They were a number 1 they were a number 1 seed.
How am I supposed to know that? Does it tell you on the bracket?
Yes, it tells you. Yes, that's why there's a 1 next to their name.
That's what those numbers mean?
Yes.
No.
That's exactly what those numbers mean, Nora.
I did not even notice those numbers.
What do you think? You didn't notice the numbers?
No.
They're all over the bracket. How did you not?
Well, how come there's so many? Why are there 4 number 1 teams?
Because there's 4 different regions.
Oh.
So there's a number 1 seed in each region.
Well, this will make my picks for next year way more accurate.
Why didn't you ask these questions earlier? You've been filling out brackets for a couple of years now.
And I learned
You never noticed it.
No. I just thought you just had to know the history of the teams. I didn't think they'd be giving away that information for free.
Oh, they give it to you for free.
Well, then why do so many people lose?
Because it's still hard to predict who's going to win it all.
Wow.
Even with that little guidance that you get, you still don't know who's going to win.
Wow.
I know. I'm shocked that you didn't know that. I thought you knew that.
No, you never explained that to me.
I thought it was self-explanatory.
How is that self-explanatory?
Because number 1 means that you're good.
But I never
Don't you want to be number 1 at things? How do you not? They're all over the page.
Hey, but at least this bracket that I'm looking at, I had Gonzaga and Arkansas, which is a number 1 and a number 4 going off of each other. That was a pretty good pick.
Yeah, a real good pick.
Don't be sarcastic with me.
I'm not.
I can't. They don't explain this to you in girl sports betting. They don't explain that to you.
What do you mean? Is there a certain code that females get?
I think so, because that was never explained to me. You never explained it to me.
I didn't think I would have to.
What do you mean you don't think you would have to? How would I know that? If I am not in the sports world, how would I have known that?
Because there's numbers all over.
I just thought they were just late, like when I don't know, just easy reference. Like team 14 is this, team 1 is this. Like I don't know. I never noticed the numbers. Never. I just now realized.
Attention to detail, Nora.
We know that I don't have that.
Okay, at least you admitted it. I didn't have to say that.
You ride with me in the car.
Oh, yeah, I know. You give me directions. Oh, yeah, you're supposed to turn there as we're going past the exit. Yeah.
I've only done that a couple times. Majority of it's like, oh, did you see this on the road? And I'm like, nope, didn't see that at all. But no, I never noticed the numbers. But now we'll know for next year. But also remember, I went off of my bets based off of the names of the teams, their colors, and their mascot or logo.
Yes.
So therefore, those numbers were irrelevant to me.
Well, maybe you should look into the numbers next year. So next year, I have 2 different things that I want you to do.
Coaches?
Hottest coaches. All right. And the other one is to actually pick based off of the rating, their ranking.
Okay.
In the tournament. Okay. So I'm not saying advance all number 1 seeds because it's not always number 1 seeds get to the Final Four, but make that like a little deciding factor on who you pick sometimes. Look at it and be like, okay, well, I bet you this number 8-9 team is probably a toss-up because they're close in the rank, they're close. So maybe, pick a number 9 team to win. Or, every once in a while you see you'll see a number 2 team lose to a 15. You'll see that every once in a while. But, you have to pick some upsets.
Isn't that what happened with Murray State?
I don't remember what happened with Murray State this year.
And they beat UK? No, that was St. Augustine.
No, St. Peter's.
Oh, St. Peter. It was
the
St.
Peacocks.
Oh, that's a great mascot.
I think so, too. There needs to be more teams named Peacocks.
That's a character in the book that I'm reading right now.
Peacocks?
Yeah. The guy calls her Freckles, and she calls him Peacock.
Yeah, because think about all the cool, uniforms that you can make if you were the Peacocks.
You can do any color.
You could, and also you could just put cocks on the front of the jersey.
That's true.
You could do that. It was funny in the women's March Madness tournament. They had a game cast on ESPN, and there were some women announcers, past players joined up, and they were talking about South Carolina. Their team nickname is the Gamecocks. And they were talking about the length of the Gamecocks, the length of the cocks, were starting to catch up to the opposing team.
That's worse than your school mascot.
What, the Blazing Trojans? Yes. Yeah. Shout out the Blazing Trojans. Don't make fun of that. That's it's unique. It's different.
I just think it's so funny that my high school mascot is the Trojans.
Yep.
Yours was Blazing Trojans. We obviously did not know each other in high school.
No.
And then we both ended up going to Lincoln College, but I went to the satellite school and you went to the home base school.
R.I.P. Lincoln College.
I just think that's kind of funny that
yeah.
We've had these, it's like we were meant to be.
That's right. We were kind of Trojans together, Lynx together. We're all that.
Yeah.
That's why we work so well together.
You have conditioned me to the WWE world that when people retire, they just let them win their final match.
Uh-huh.
So it was such a big deal that Duke's head coach was retiring this year. So in my head, I'm like, well, why wouldn't they just let Duke win and let this head coach go out on his final game?
If that's your philosophy, then why didn't you pick Duke to win in either one?
Because I didn't know that he was retiring until we recorded the podcast talking about this.
Oh, Nora.
I now know for next year that I can't just, wing it on these brackets. I got to discuss them with you.
You got a lot of prep work to do for next year.
Oh my God.
Lot of prep work.
Didn't even know March Madness was going on until I got all the emails from my work saying, hey, we're doing March Madness brackets, $10 a bracket. Who wants to join in?
Just remember, it happens every March.
No shit.
Yep. That's how it goes
Every
down.
March?
Every March. Well, I can't say every March because last year, 2021, they did it. 2022, they didn't. I can't say every year because 2020, it was the start of pandemic, and that's when things were really heightened. Everyone was locked down kind of at that time. So I can't say every year because there has been some exceptions to the rule.
Most Marches
it will happen.
Okay.
Unless we see another pandemic.
Okay. Well, let's hope not for another pandemic.
No. Well, thanks for jumping back on to discuss these things.
I'm glad I could be there.
And hopefully next year we get it all ironed out. And hopefully you pick a winner based on, like I said, we'll do the 2 brackets for you. You'll have a real bracket. Hopefully you get a winner out of that one. And who knows? We'll see what happens with your hottest coach bracket.
What if I do better on the hottest coach bracket? There's got to be a correlation on attractiveness of coaches versus What does the coach for Kansas look like?
Bill Self?
Yeah.
He used to be the head coach at Illinois, so I'll throw that out at you. Let me Google search Bill Self for you. I mean, he's not a horrible looking guy.
Let's see. What does he look like?
Out of the coaches, I don't think he would probably be one of the better looking guys.
Yeah, like I feel like he probably was in his prime in his like 30s.
He probably was.
Like I feel like he was getting all the ladies' numbers in his 30s.
He looks like a player, and I bet you he still is.
Yeah, I could see that. Well, I mean, he gets to travel, so he's got options.
He has wives all over the Big 12.
He's got a wife in, Kansas. He's got a wife in California. He's got a wife everywhere.
That's how some of them do it.
Yeah.
Well, thanks again. Next year, this time, come prepared.
Okay. You have to make one next year, too, so we can compete.
All right, we'll do that. We'll have a Luke Kelly show bracket off.
Sounds good.
Thanks, babe. I really appreciate that. One sport comes to an end. Another one, probably one of my favorite sports. And one of my favorite sports because I fell in love with it at such an early age. Baseball is back. It feels good to have a sport back on TV that you could just throw on, watch for 1-2 innings, take a nap, and then wake up in the 7th inning and you really didn't miss anything. That's why I really love baseball. I felt like we needed to have a baseball topic on this show. So today we're going to do the top 3 baseball movies of all time. I even got a little baseball music for us as we discuss this. Little MLB on Fox music in the background, baby. These were kind of hard to do, picking these movies out, because each one is just so good in its own right. And then you kind of have to pick out, why is this one better? Why is that one better? And I feel like baseball movies, they're so different. Yet they're about the same sport, but yet so different. So here's my top 3 baseball movies of all time. Coming in at number 3 on the list is, who do you think it is? Who do you think it is? Because I am a big fan of this one. I used to quote this all the time back in the day.
Are you crying?
No.
Are you crying? Are you crying? There's no crying. There's no crying in baseball.
Why don't you leave her alone, Jimmy?
Oh, you zip it, Doris. Rogers Hornsby was my manager, and he called me a talking pile of pig shit. And that was when my parents drove all the way down from Michigan to see me play the game. And did I cry? No. No. And you know why?
No.
Because there's no crying in baseball. There's no crying in baseball. No crying.
This is my favorite part.
Ready, Jimmy? What? She's crying, sir.
I didn't mean to do that.
Perhaps you chastise her too vehemently. Good rule of thumb. Treat each of these girls as you would treat your mother.
Anyone ever tell you look like a penis with a little hat on?
How can you not love that? That line right there is so hilarious. I felt like Tom Hanks did an excellent job playing his character in that movie. And that movie, such star-studded cast. When you go and think about who's in that movie, Tom Hanks. You have Rosie O'Donnell. Madonna was in that movie. The lady that played the team manager, whatever her name was, I can't think of it off the top of my head. But when you could get the Wicked Witch of the West in the movie, you know it's good. So that's why A League of Their Own finds the number 3 spot of the top 3 baseball movies. By the way, if you ever watch A League of Their Own and then go to the Baseball Hall of Fame to look at the exhibit, it looks like no resemblance at all when it comes to the exhibit of the All-American Girls Professional Baseball League. Doesn't look even remotely close to it. Coming in at number 2 on the top 3 baseball movies of all time is a classic. And actually, I don't know if I have it queued up right now. No, I don't have it queued up. What was I doing? Let me see if I could drag it over and get it for us really fast. What did I do with it? Gotta wait for it to load. I'm sorry about that. How unprofessional of me to not have it all loaded up as we're counting down the top 3 baseball movies of all time. All right, here we go. This movie, it's a classic. You grew up watching this one, and you probably quote this baseball movie the most. The Sandlot.
Hurry up, Batter. It's gonna be a short game, and I gotta get home for lunch. That's one. You know,
This is my favorite scene.
was as ugly as you. I'd shave his butt and tell him to walk backwards. The heater.
Just because of all the smack talk that Porter is doing as a catcher.
Hey, is that your sister out there in left field? Naked? She's naked. Shut up, Porter!
And if you didn't talk trash like that when you were playing baseball against some of your friends, you're an L7 weenie, okay? Yeah, Oscar Mayer. Dodger dog even. If you didn't do that, I did it all the time. Playing Stager Little League, I would see one of my buddies that I was in class with, always had to talk trash. Because if you don't talk trash while you're playing sports, you're not really having fun. That's why we need more trash talking, more celebrations in baseball. The more fun you make it, everybody wants to join the party, okay? And the best baseball movie of all time. There's really not even a debate. This should be number 1 on everybody's list. And if you don't have it at number 1, I'm going to be fighting you all the time.
What's that shit on your chest?
Crisco.
Bardol?
Vagisil.
Any one of them will give you another 2 to 3 inches drop on your curveball. Of course, if the umps are watching me close, I just rub a little jalapeno inside my nose, get it running, and if I need to load the ball up a little, just wipe my nose.
You put snot on the ball?
Haven't got an arm like yours. I got to put anything on it I can find.
Yes. Major League. I feel like that is ultimately the best baseball movie of all time. Like, you could throw Bull Durham maybe in your top 3. To me, I like Bull Durham, but it could never find its way into my top 3, obviously. I'm trying to think of other ones. I know I'm going to get a lot of hate of this. I'm not a big fan of Field of Dreams. The Natural, not a big fan of it. Never have been. It's like I found my baseball movies at a young age, and I stuck to them. And Major League was a movie that I probably shouldn't have watched as a kid because of all the bad words in there. But you have to watch it if you're a baseball fan. So many zingers in that movie. I think Bob Uecker does a great job playing Harry Doyle and really makes that movie, brings it all together. Man, such a good movie. So happy that baseball season is here. And like, I joke about it. I tell people all the time, listen, I love baseball just because you could take a nap and then you could wake up and you didn't miss anything. I enjoy sports like that. And you're probably saying, oh, it must be really bad if you fall asleep during it. Yeah, sure. It can be. But I like sports like that. That's why I like golf too, right? You could fall asleep on a Sunday when it starts. You wake up from your Sunday nap and then all of a sudden, here come the final pairings marching their way down the 16th hole just when things are getting interesting. And you're good. You won't miss out of any drama that's happening because it's going to be happening in those last 3 holes or last 2 holes. They don't play 19 holes, 18 holes. I can count. Maybe counting's not my strongest of points, but yeah. So there we go. Top 3 baseball movies of all time. Number 3, A League of Their Own. Number 2, The Sandlot. And number 1, major league. Now, I'm not sure if any of those movies won an Oscar at all. But I tell you who won't be winning an Oscar anytime soon, won't be going to the Oscars anytime soon, and that's Will Smith. He has been banned from Academy things, events, nominations, all that stuff for the next 10 years. This seems like it was a little steep. This totally seems like we're making an example out of you. Listen, I could understand a 1-year ban. That seems most logical in this situation. But the Oscars doesn't want to do that. What you should do is say, Will, it's a year. And then after that, you come back. We're going to have you and Chris up on stage. And we're going to set up a little scene here for you. You're going to act like you're going in for a hug. But your boy Chris Rock is going to get so nervous that he flinches and actually takes a step back and slaps you in the face, and it turns out to a huge brawl. Doesn't that sound fantastic? Doesn't that seem like something that you would want to watch on TV? I'm telling you, they are missing out if they don't put that fight on pay-per-view. I would pay for it. Listen, I'm not a big award show guy, but if you told me we're having a Chris Rock versus Will Smith fight, it's going to be at the Oscars in 2 years, but it's only on pay-per-view, it's not going to be on regular network television, I'm buying it. I want to see that. We could bring some of the celebrity death matches that we had back on MTV in the 90s and the 2000s and just pretty much put them on stage on this pay-per-view. If there's any celebrity beef, we're solving it that night. And the person that walks away the winner gets a championship, gets a title. They can wear it around their waist, talk to Vincent Kennedy McMahon, and get yourself some WWE titles made up for some of these bouts that we would have on that pay-per-view. That's big business stuff right there. This is stuff that the WWE was kind of built on, getting people from the entertainment world into the wrestling game. But now it's just the entertainment world capitalizing on their own beef that's inside of their industry. Why wouldn't you do it? Come on. Oscars, the Academy, get yourself together. If you want me to start putting together a bigger card for you for this pay-per-view in a few years, call me. I'm open to work with you. Because I have a couple celebrity matches that I would like to see, but I'm not going to say them out loud because you know why? I want to put them together. I want to make sure they end up on this card. I don't want anybody else stealing any more of my ideas. I have a lot of big brain ideas. And sometimes I feel like whenever I put them out there, they come true. Somebody else stole them from me. They're tapping into my house, listening to everything that I say. Totally not cool. You know what's not another cool thing? Is how hard Wordle is now. It's extremely tougher since the New York Post has taken over. And if you play the game, you probably know. And everyone on Twitter is always talking about it. It's so hard now. I don't know what to do. Listen, I was on the train. It's not that hard. But over time, it just kept getting harder and harder. And if you're looking for a good starting word, they actually did a research study. There is a bot that plays Wordle every single day. And there's words that they would constantly use to try and solve the word of the day. And they found the top 3 best words to use first. They are slate, crate, and crane. Crane is actually the best one that you can use. This just goes back to the basics of the Wheel of Fortune, right? R-S-T-L-N-E. You have an R in some of those. You have a T, an E. Like you want to use words that could potentially lead you into using a lot of letters that could be in other words and putting them in a certain spot in that puzzle to make sure you get the green if it's in the right the right letter space. You know what I'm saying? Wordle's a good game. I love playing a good word game. They're a lot of fun. That's why I like watching the Game Show Network. Gosh, I feel so old admitting that. So I feel like only old people watch it. But they have this game called America Says on there. And they'll put up a letter and it'll be like, okay, what's an example? On Easter, we have these things. And then there would be like an H up there, and you would guess ham, and it would be up there. A C, and there would be a candy up there. I like word games. I always have. I always played Words with Friends for a very long time. Played it a lot longer than what I should have. I actually downloaded it a while ago and played with Nora's grandma for a while, and then I just got busy and stopped playing again. But I feel like it just keeps the brain going, and every once in a while I need that, because some days I feel extremely dumb, because the biggest reason why I feel dumb is because when I'm on my phone and I start spelling something and I'm like, oh yeah, that's totally not right. Let's just let autocorrect fix it. I don't know if I know how to spell anymore. Writing stuff on paper is terrifying to me, just because I don't know if I'm spelling it right. We need to invent paper that has autocorrect on it. So when you're writing, you'll see the line, like the squiggly underneath it, and be like, okay, we could take that out. Here's the correct spelling on this. It'd save us so much time and effort. So much time and effort. I guess that's why a lot of people take notes and write notes now on like iPads and different tablets and stuff. Get them transcribed and see if they spelled anything wrong. That's smart. Super smart to do. Man, this was a good episode. It went by really fast. Talked about a lot of different things. I feel accomplished in this episode. I really do. Wow, we did it together. Thanks so much for showing up today. I'll talk to you on Wednesday here on The Luke Kelly Show.